Am I the a-hole for telling my guests it's better they don't come to the wedding after they complained about our wedding too much? We are getting married in less than 2 months. Our RSVP deadline was a month ago, and everyone responded to our RSVP but one couple. We really had to hound them to get any kind of answer from them. Yesterday, they sent us a message telling us they are free to come, but alongside the reply, they sent us a long message. How cumbersome and expensive it is to attend our wedding and how tiring the weekend for them will be, and how they will probably retreat to their hotel room for most of the day and stay for the ceremony and part of the dinner, but retreat to their room for the rest of festivities. Okay, didn't ask. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, if it's too expensive, don't go. And if you do go, just do what you gotta do for the wedding portion. Like, it really is like a didn't ask. Just tell me yes or no. Like, we were taken aback because we were paying for everything: food, drinks, parking. We were also paying for everyone's accommodation, a very nice lakeside hotel. Their biggest expense would be to pay for the gas for the 4-hour drive to the wedding and back. In parentheses, they have a car. They also complained about the dress code. We have a black tie. We are requesting, in parentheses, black tie. Sorry, they just wrote, we have black tie. So I'm trying to fix it on the fly. In parentheses, we requested black tie attire. Why is that so hard to say? Yeah, they are rich. That's what I'm thinking. They also complained about the dress code. In parentheses, we requested black tie attire, but they both own clothes that would fit the dress code, so they wouldn't have to buy new ones anyways. But they complained about that too. We read the message and basically told them that if coming would be so tiresome for them, it is better not to come. We said that we aren't mad at all. If someone can't make it or doesn't feel up to it, there are no hard feelings. But basically, we uninvited them. I know it doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things budget-wise, but each guest cost us around $600, and I didn't feel like spending $1,200 on people that didn't even want to be there. They're now angry at us and refuse to speak to us, and we're thinking about maybe... Sorry, English has not been great in this story. They are now angry at us and refuse to speak to us, and we were thinking that maybe we were a bit harsh. Are we the a-holes? I mean, they like, first off, they missed the RSVP deadline, right? Like, what? I think that's good enough, is if you just go, hey man, you kind of already missed it by a month. Go fuck yourself. Like, you can't be like, oh my God, okay, we're gonna come to your wedding, but let me write out a long list of shit that I have a problem with your wedding that also kind of doesn't make any sense, because this sounds like the cheapest possible wedding you could probably ever go to. Like, at that point, I'm gonna be like, all right, so you're not going. I don't want you here. If it's that stressful for you, why would you even want to fucking go? Also, this is a bad friend thing for you to do. I guess OP never got into the relationship that her and their partner, or I guess we don't even know if OP is a her. OP never got into the relationship that them and their partner have with this couple, but they don't sound like people you want to keep around. Like, are these your best friends? Are they just kind of acquaintances? Are they family members? I don't know. I've just never understood this, chat. I'm like, when I go to a wedding, my number one priority is to not stress out the bride and groom. You know what I'm saying? So they are complaining just to complain. That's what it feels like. Also complaining just to complain when, like, you miss the deadline. You should be, if you want to go to this wedding, you should be on your knees begging and pleading that they can make it work, and they're willing to make it work for you because you're a month fucking late. Like, to me, that's probably the most disrespectful part of this whole thing is like, dude, if you're gonna say some fuck shit, at least say some fuck shit on time. A month late is just like wound salt. Like, yeah, show up, shut up, eat your free food, and get your free booze if you want. Like, that's how I feel too. It's like, dude, if you go to a wedding, first off, if you get invited to a wedding and you don't want to go, just don't fucking go. You know? You could just make some shit up. If you're not that close with the people and you just don't want to go, don't fucking go. It's not that big of a deal. If you do want to enjoy some cutie love and a little bit of free food, free booze, a little vacation with your partner, like, fucking go for it. Yeah, man. I'm like, I have to say, I think if you have friends that you have to hound to get an answer about if they're gonna come to the most important day of your life, you should probably just drop those friends. You know? Like, that's just a very disrespectful thing to do. Even further, like, if you have friends who don't meet the RSVP date, just be like, you're not going. Sorry, bro. Have you seen how expensive this shit is? I'm guessing late minute ads for catering, for seating at a venue, for fucking napkins and chairs at a wedding, bro. Like, absolutely not. That is not the thing that you try to fuck around with last minute, because I'm sure the upcharge on that is crazy. I'd go to any wedding that fed me and gave me drinks for free. No, for real. Or two, I understand the travel aspect of it being really stressful, but it's like, if you have time for it and it's a 4-hour car, like, if it's a 4-hour car ride, like, yeah, I think you should expect to go. If you're flying across the country, that's where I'm like, maybe. Also, I mean, listen, all I'm picking up here, this person's name is Stella from Vienna. I'm thinking Vienna, Australia. Or not Australia, Austria. My bad. Like, if they're in Europe, I feel like there's even less of a reason not to go, because y'all have a great public train system. You know what I'm saying? Like, shit, man. If you're in Europe complaining about going to somebody's wedding, like, I know what those train tickets cost and how easy that shit is. I thought you said Australia as a joke. Austria, Australia. Listen, all I'm saying is one of y'all should have changed your name. I don't know who copied who, but what you guys were like, let's just get rid of a couple of letters and fuck with this YouTuber later on. Chat, which one came first? Was it Australia or Austria? Australia was a prison colony. Oh, really? Australia isn't real and Australian citizens are all paid actors. I wouldn't be surprised, bro. Have you heard that accent? Bro, obviously Austria. How the fuck would I know? Australia is so fucking recent. When was Australia founded, Chad? I genuinely don't know. Australia was made up of the UK's criminals because their jails got overpopulated. That was back in the 1700s. Honestly, what if we started doing that again? What if we just sent all the criminals to Australia and let them deal with it? Thoughts? As an Aussie, I can confirm we are actors. See? Oh, I'm on the wrong screen. Fuck. Australia is the Texas of Britain. I don't think you're not lying, so I do think you're cooking on that. That's so silly. Austria. Isn't Austria like so much smaller than Australia though? Isn't Austria a pretty small country? Yeah, I think it is, right? Yeah, way small. I've heard it's beautiful there, man. The criminals would be eaten by spiders and beaten by kangaroos within weeks there. I mean, I guess it depends on what type of criminals, bro. Sounds like a good treatment for pedophiles. Chat, we might have come up with something. Sick all of Australia's kangaroos and spiders on pedophiles. Thoughts? Oh, I didn't realize Mozart was from Austria. That's pretty cool. Hey, Kiki's from Austria. We love it. Spiders ain't shit in Australia. It's the vicious ass birds you got to worry about. God damn. Incredible. All right, chat, let's keep going. Let's keep it rocking and ripping and rocking. All right. Here we are, chat. More stories. If you guys are on the YouTube, make sure to like up the stream. We got 59 people watching, 42 likes. I know we could get that shit past 50. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Make sure to like up the stream. If you guys are on Twitch, make sure to follow no matter where you're at, though. Turn on the post notices so you can be notified whenever I go live, baby. Annabelle, welcome to the stream. Am I the a-hole for giving my boyfriend an ultimatum for showing me his home? Hi, I've been dating a guy for almost 3 months now. We literally live a 15 minutes walk distance from each other, so we hang out almost daily. He comes over at my place to watch movies, eat dinner, and play games together. But he refuses to invite me over to his place. Every time I ask him to hang out at his place, he tells me it's too messy and he doesn't want me to see it. He lives in a small apartment and has loads of free time to clean. I also offered to help him clean his home several times, but he refuses. He rejected the idea of hiring a professional cleaner, too. I don't want us to only hang out at my home every time, and I've asked him to clean his home so many times now. I even said I don't care about it being a mess. I just want my boyfriend to invite me over. He claims he is cleaning bit by bit, but that's what he's been saying for like 3 months now. Last week, I was fed up with it and told him I'm giving him an ultimatum of 2 weeks to show me his home or we're done. He asked me for a month. Eventually, we settled on 3 weeks, but he... Girl, your date... Let me get this straight. Our standards are dating men who need 3 weeks to clean their apartment. Why? Just why? The dick can't be that good. It can't. It can't, bro. It just can't. Oh my God. Eventually I needed to keep reading because it says, eventually we settled on 3 weeks, but he said he probably won't make it. We settled on 3 weeks, but even that isn't enough time for this man to figure it the fuck out. Keep in mind, this is a single person apartment, so real small, and he has all the time in the world, but it's bugging me. Am I the a-hole for demanding to see his place? Okay, so here's my thought. Number one, you're dating the most incompetent man in the world. Why the fuck would you date him? Number two, there's another reason why you can't go to his apartment. Some thoughts off the top of my head. He has another girlfriend. That could be a possibility. The other one that I think is probably a little bit more realistic, he probably doesn't have an apartment. You might be dating a homeless guy, or maybe a dude who lives with his mom and just couldn't tell you that he lives with his mom. And you got, what is it called, chat? When you got like a homeless person, like a guy lying to you about being homeless and he's living with you. What is it called again? Someone in chat might have, hobosexual. Thank you. Yeah, you got a hobosexual with you, girl. For sure. Ain't no way. Oh, man. Yeah, that's crazy. Like, I'm just of the firm belief that if you're dating somebody and this early on, they're doing something super abnormal, that is just like, whoa, dude, like, what are we doing here? I think it's just better to get out, you know? No matter how you spin this is a red flag. Like, there is no way that you can spin this to be like, okay, that makes sense. It just, you can't. I misheard that as homosexual. I mean, maybe that too, bro. Maybe he doesn't have a girlfriend. He has a boyfriend. I don't know. I guess we don't even know if OP is a girl. So that's completely possible, actually. But no, just to clarify, I said hobo, H-O-B-O, sexual. Yeah. I don't know. If you're 3 weeks to clean your 1-bedroom apartment, either that thing is disgusting or there's some hanky-panky happening. What up, Shawarma? Welcome to the stream. We already got started on some of the stories. Oh my God. Chat. Top comment. My current theories, he lives with his parents and is embarrassed, lives with his girlfriend or ex-girlfriend, or he's a hoarder. Could be. Yeah, he could also be homeless / living in his car or couch surfing. Chat, I have to fucking check. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, chat. OP has that post and then changing language on Neopets. I'm so sorry. The duality of Reddit goes so hard. But it doesn't look like, I mean, this post was literally from a day ago. So if we get an update or anything like that, you guys are going to have to send that to me. I'm very curious, man. I think there has to be some weird hanky-panky shit going on. Another theory could be struggling with mental health and actually has a really messy place he hasn't been able to tackle yet. I get that, but I still think it's a red flag because OP has offered to help them clean it and they're not taking the help. You know, because then you're like, okay, now you're with a partner who like isn't able to function. And don't get me wrong, like if you have mental health issues, like I sympathize and empathize with you, but I don't think that should then be something that like bleeds into your relationship that you have almost like closed door communication on, or that you're not trying to work with your partner on. And it doesn't sound like that's what's happening here. Like in my opinion, if that's the case, then that guy shouldn't be in OP's boyfriend shouldn't be in a relationship with them. They should be figuring out their mental health so that they don't live in a pigsty. Because to me, all that OP really is a distraction from it. Maybe he's a murderer, chat. I mean, I'm sure fucking Jeffrey Dahmer wasn't bringing his girlfriend, I guess maybe not girlfriend. I you know, like, if you got body parts in the fridge, you're probably not bringing anybody over. That would actually be that would be an insane plot twist, chat. Ooh, you guys are asking good questions about his personal hygiene. That's a good point too. Like if his personal hygiene is really good, but he's not able to keep his place clean, I actually think that could be a huge red flag, bro. That he's like lying of some sort. Interesting. Jeffrey Dahmer lived at Iowa State for a few years. You're lying. No, he didn't. No, he didn't. Oh my God, Jeffrey Dahmer spent a portion of his early childhood in Ames, Iowa. Oh my God. Family lived in Pamela Court housing and then later in Hawthorne Apartments, which is now known as Frederickson Court. Shut the fuck up. I know where Frederickson Court is, chat. That's insane. I did not fucking know that. Wow. They did not advertise that on the tours. And I would know I was a tour guide. That'd be so funny. Hey, y'all, fun fact. Jeffrey Dahmer grew up here, bro. Yeah, I'm sure Iowa State is not proud of that. Don't get me wrong, bro. That is crazy, though. That is crazy, chat. Y'all taught me something new today. Really did. You walk the paths of a serial killer. I mean, I wasn't over at Frederickson Court a lot. I gave a couple of tours there. And I think I went to like one party over there once. I think that's it. It was kind of like out of the way. To be honest, now, Freddy Court, we called it Freddy Court. Freddy Court is mainly, I would say it's mainly like that's where the student athletes live. Like, that's what a majority of Freddie Court is just student athletes. And then, I don't know, some people who want like easier student housing outside of the dorms. Yeah, I have a feeling it's something to do with like an ex or a girlfriend or something like that. Something like that. What up, Katana? Alrighty, chat. Let's keep it rocking and ripping and ripping and rocking. We got more. We have this story, which actually has an update to it. The update was the one that I found. Original post did pretty well, too. 22 days, 19 days, so about 3 days apart for this update. If you guys are on the YouTube, make sure to like up this stream. We got 42 people watching, 43 likes. That's actually pretty good. Thank you, guys. If you guys are on the Twitch, make sure to follow no matter where you're at. Turn on those post noties, baby, so you can be notified whenever I go live. Here we go. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to go to an amusement park with my friend because she is plus-sized? Hi, I am probably going to get hate based on the title alone, but read the whole post, please. I'm 21 female and have a childhood friend 22 female. We live near a big amusement park in our state, and every summer since we were kids, we've gone to it together pretty often. Ever since we were teens, she's been curvy / plus size, and that's fine by me. But recently she's put on a lot more weight. Again, I don't care about this at all, means nothing to me. However, it's created an issue with going on rides and attractions at the amusement park. We haven't been to the park in around a year. Our first time back was last week. When we were there, I discovered that most of the rides we used to love going on, she can no longer fit on them. Others she can technically fit, but doesn't want to ride them because the seatbelts feel too uncomfortable. There are very few rides left that she can go on without an issue. Also, we went on a ride recently where 2 people share a bench type of seat. It was extremely uncomfortable because there wasn't much room for me, and it felt like I was being crushed most of the ride, and it felt unsafe. There's also been an issue with her eating my food while we are there. Like, for example, I will buy some popcorn or something at the amusement park. She will buy her own stuff, and then she asks to try mine. Usually she will eat it all if I don't stop her. I may get hate for this, but she sometimes gets dirty looks or pointed at when we are there together because people are judgmental. This makes me sad for her and just uncomfortable overall. She's been asking if I want to go to the amusement park this weekend, and I really don't see the point because we won't be able to go on most of the rides. I feel terrible though and don't know how to say I don't want to go. Should I suggest some other activity? I feel like she will get suspicious because I love amusement parks and usually always wanted to go during the past summers. I'm not entirely sure why she wants to go there so badly if most of the attractions do not work for her anymore. Am I the a-hole? Interesting. This is hard, chat. Very much. Okay, the only thing I'm really confident about is I feel like this is a no a-holes here. Like, I don't think OP's the a-hole or this woman is the a-hole, you know? I think they're both young, trying to figure out how to navigate a difficult situation, specifically with OP. And I don't necessarily blame OP. Like, hey, I can't go on most of the rides that I want to go on to, and it's just overall not a pleasant experience because this friend is plus sized. Like, I think you can identify that without discriminating or hating on a plus size person, because that's just the case. That's how it is. And like, I don't think it's fair for OP to go to these things if they don't enjoy them because of that factor. And I really do like to give OP some credit. I really love that she said, like, the entire post, she really wants to make sure that she's catering to her friend's feelings. And she even says, like, should I suggest going and doing something else? Like, it's not like she wants to abandon this person. It's just that this specific activity isn't as fun for them as a whole. The thing that I'm not sure about, chat, and that maybe you guys can help me figure out, My gut is almost leaning towards communication here because I think if she just tries to like not address it and dodge whenever this girl wants to go to the amusement parks, it's going to create tension in their friendship that I think would be at least a little bit more avoidable if you approach them and you go like, hey, there's no hard feelings here. I just want to communicate why going to the amusement park isn't as fun for me. Is there something that we can do as friends to like work on this together? And I know that's a hard conversation, but that is, I think, how a friendship works is like, if something's not working in the friendship, you should talk about it. Now, the problem is that they're both young and weight is obviously a very sensitive subject. So I just don't really know. I think like I said, guys, I think this is no a-holes here. I think there's a bunch of different ways you could go about it. I think if I were in the situation, I would want to communicate with my friend to try to figure out, you know, a lot of those things seem relatively fixable. Like maybe when you guys go on rides together, you don't have to sit next to each other, and that way it's not uncomfortable for OP. You know, you can talk to her about like, hey, I'm not super wild when you eat all my food. Can we have more boundaries around like how we share food together? I think there's a lot that you can work on together there, as well as maybe she wants help to like not, you know, and or not be so, because it sounds like she was plus size and then it got more plus size. Like maybe she wants OP support to like, you know, combat that however she needs to, you know. I think there's a lot there that I think if you're a good friend and you guys have good communication, you can work on it together, but it's just very delicate. It's just very delicate. Hey, what up, chicken sandwich? The friend eating OP's food is a dick move in general. Okay, I see that. If this is a childhood, lifelong friend, why haven't you already voiced these concerns? As someone who is a bit bigger, but been bigger where rides could be difficult, like I know what it is for me, I'd rather you just be forward about what you want to do instead of pussyfooting around it. Okay, Kitten and Posey, like I understand what you're saying, but you have to keep in mind, this has only become an issue as of this year. They haven't been going to the amusement parks together as often, and back in the day, she wasn't as plus size as she is now. So like, I understand what you're saying, and I agree with you. Like, that's how I feel too. I feel like if I were in either of their shoes, I'd either want to start the conversation or have the person start the conversation with me. I don't think we're where you're at yet. I think you're putting a lot of blame on OP that isn't merited because, like, OP has just identified the situation, or excuse me, OP has just identified the problem from their situation together going to this amusement park, and now she's trying to figure out how to handle it. And also, she's 21, bro. Like, OP is a 21 female. The other girl's a 22 female. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. When I was 21, I did not have the capacity to know how to have these conversations with people because you're borderline still kind of a child. You're a child still becoming an adult. Like, there were probably plenty of conversations that I should have had when I was 21 with my friends that I didn't have because I wasn't mature enough. It's hard to talk about, yes, but it needs to be done. My friend sat me down one time about it. I explained my situation as to why I'm plus size, and we talked about it and found solutions to counter. Exactly. The problem is, Rose, is like that conversation could go bad, you know? Especially with people who are so young and not as, you know, or who knows? I actually don't really know if this woman is like comfortable in her body, if OP's friend is comfortable in her body, but assuming she's young, maybe a little immature, that conversation could go poorly. But I think it is a conversation that needs to be had. Oh shit, did Chicken Sandwich just gift? Chicken Sandwich did just gift. Chicken Sandwich, thank you for the gifted memberships. And thank you to Zoljic for having the good manners, saying thank you to Chicken Sandwich. You're the real one, Zoljic. I appreciate you, Chicken Sandwich. Thank you for the gifted memberships. If you guys got a gifted membership from Chicken Sandwich or anybody else in the stream, I need y'all to say thank you. All right, chat? Look at that. Look at Lauren saying thank you too, bro. We love to see it, chat. We love to see it. Thank you guys for having good manners. Being afraid the conversation going being afraid of the conversation going poorly is just avoiding it. I agree too, Bouncy Ball. I agree for sure. I'm a plus-size person. I get that the world isn't accommodating to us, but I also get that it's not OP's job to cater to the friend. But eating her food is wildly inappropriate, and they should definitely have some open communication about these issues. But if the friend gets mad and tries to say she's excluding her due to her weight, then something more is going to have to be considered. Yeah, I mean, like, it just sucks that, like, that is the case, but that's just kind of like one of those, that's how the world works. And if you're not able to identify it and like view the world realistically and turn it into like your friend who, like, clearly this friend wants to hang out with them and wants to work with them to like make their experience hanging out with them more enjoyable. But like at the end of the day, if OP's experience with this friend isn't enjoyable, that's going to hurt their friendship in the long run. And I think it's like communicating that, but also if the friend is able to not let that like hurt their ego or their, their feelings about it. Like, I don't know. It's a hard situation, but I do think we're all on the same page. I think OP needs to talk to the friend and kind of just hope that the friend is mature enough to have a mature conversation about it. Chat, let me see what the comments are saying. Okay, top comment, not the a-hole. When I was in high school, I went to a theme park and saw a larger guy in my year trying to get on a roller coaster. The safety lock or whatever you want it wouldn't close around him and he had to leave so the roller coaster could start. It was humiliating for him and a bunch of people were laughing. Suggesting another activity might be best. Okay. Yeah. That's rude that a bunch of other people would laugh. But like, I do think that, I don't know. I do think suggesting another activity is important, but I think you have to have the conversation around why you're suggesting the other activity. Not the a-hole, but handle it delicately. Suggest the other activity. I was kind of, in quotes, I was kind of hoping to do something chill, like go to the beach. I'm not really up for long lines this weekend. It sounds like the comments are very much like dance around the situation and don't have the conversation. And I don't know if I agree with that. I think that just is a temporary fix to a long-term problem that you might run into in the future. And like I said, I really do think that after a while of you turning down going to the amusement park with them, they're going to start picking up like, oh, OP doesn't want to go to this amusement park with me. And there's going to be tension in the friendship. Assuming that you want a friendship with them that's long-standing, I think the conversation has to happen. This one said, why not go with a group so she can enjoy the parts of the park that she likes and there are other people to ride with? I guess that's an option. But like I said, I think it's just a temporary Band-Aid. Crazy. I mean, just a lot of people recommending like deflecting it. I don't know, man. Not the a-hole. I might get some hate too, but the fact is you laid out some pretty legitimate excuse me, not the a-hole. I might get some hate too, but the fact is you laid out some pretty legitimate reasons as to why her weight is enough of a problem to not want to go with her. I don't care what size anyone is, but if it gets to a point where their sheer size and appetite will stop you from being able to enjoy or even take part in certain activities with them, it is what it is. I kind of have to agree with that. Like, it's not like the most PC thing to say, and I'm with them. Like, I don't care what size anybody is, but like, there are certain activities that if like you're, overweight or obese, it can make those activities either completely not able to be enjoyed or unenjoyable for another person. I think that's where you have to like, at the end of the day, like you aren't required to put up with that unenjoyment, Like that's not fair to you that you have to put up with it because of that, Yeah, I prefer someone to be straight with me rather than dance around my feelings. That's how I feel too. Like a lot of these comments, and Death Pants said that, by the way. Like that's how I feel like these comments most of them are treating it. And this comment that we just read is the first one that is kind of like, hey, it is what it is. I guess they didn't say like you have to address it, but I think that's what we're adding on here is like dancing around it doesn't, in my opinion, help the person or OP. And if you truly want to be friends with them, you should be able to have hard conversations around it, Yeah, man, this is just such a hard conversation to have. Let me read what OP's edit is. So there is an update to this post, but OP added an edit on the original post. I've been asked a few questions repeatedly, so I want to clarify. I was asked if she can wait for me until I ride certain rides. I brought this up once and she said she doesn't really want to because that would be boring for her since the lines are so long. And I totally understand where she's coming from. Also, people are talking about... Also, people are taking what I said about stealing food and me shaming her for her weight and eating habits. Sorry, that sentence doesn't make sense. I'm trying to figure out how to make it make sense. Okay, I think what they meant to say is, also, people are taking what I said about stealing food as me shaming her for her weight and eating habits. I want to say that ever since we were children, she has had a habit of taking other people's food, and she was not overweight at the time. I mentioned it because it's something she typically does at amusement parks. I've been told that it's not fair to say I'm uncomfortable when people stare at her or say mean things. In parentheses, this has happened a couple times, mostly by groups of kids/teens. Do people want me to be happy when my friend is getting this treatment? Yes, it's more important how she feels, not me, but I'm not her and I can't speak for her. Interesting. We didn't even touch on that. It seemed to bother her too, though, and once I yelled at one of the people who made comments to her, and she said she appreciated that as much as... And she said she appreciated... And she said she appreciated that as she's much more reserved than I am, so may not have been comfortable telling them off herself. For those asking why she still wants to go to this park, there's 2 to 3 rides she still goes on without much issue. She usually wants to just repeat those ones when we go. I would be okay to do this sometimes since I like those rides, but if we go every week, in parentheses, which is normal for us in past summers, this begins to feel like a waste of money and no longer as fun. This is interesting. I don't know. I didn't really get a vibe that OP was like, this makes me uncomfortable and I'm making this thing about me. I got it more as like, I would prefer if people didn't make fun of my friend openly the way that they do. Because, yeah, I understand people like, okay, don't make it all about yourself. But I don't think that's what OP was saying. She was just like, I feel bad for my friend, you know? Okay. Pretty much just like OP defending themselves a little based off of what other people said. But I don't know. I didn't get the vibe here that like OP had any malice towards this friend. I think OP is very understanding of their friend and wants to support them. But that being said, their own comfortability and enjoyment of this activity is definitely hindered by their friend being plus sized, which I don't think is like a terrible thing to identify. And I don't think that like OP is just required to put up with it. And like you guys said, I don't think OP needs to be lying to her. Or that's not what you do to a friend. If you have a friend, you have a hard conversation with them because if you value that friendship, you want to move through it together with both parties being as comfortable as possible. Yeah. Oh, that's a tough one, but I think OP just needs to have that conversation and hopefully they're both mature enough to be able to work through the conversation together. Yeah, no assholes here. That's how I feel too. Like, don't get me wrong, you guys. I think the main argument for the friend being the a-hole is the stealing of the food, which I agree with. I think that's not a great move. I know food is hard because it's kind of a sensitive thing and everybody has their own boundaries around it. I'd be curious if OP's communicated to her before, like, hey, I don't like when you do that. Can you please stop doing that? And she continues to do that. I think that's where I'm like, okay, maybe there's an a-hole verdict to have here. Based off the story, I would assume that that hasn't really happened because it sounds like food is a very sensitive, touchy subject that maybe OP is a little afraid to have a conversation with her about because she's plus sized. And because she's continuing to become more plus size. So, I don't know, man. Addressing it is how you get a stronger friendship. Yeah, Cross, I think that's just the move here. I think with friends, like, sometimes you just do stuff with your friends and you, like, cross boundaries because, like, it's like siblings. Like, I'm not gonna lie, like, sometimes me and my siblings will like poke and prod each other because like we're so close, you know, like that foundation is there where like, you know, every once in a while we kind of like cross a boundary and then get like reminded about it. But it's like, hey, I love you still. It's just like, you know, you get really comfortable with that person and you think you can like, you know, stretch, you know, it's like stealing your siblings' leftovers. You know what I'm saying? Like, you shouldn't do that, but like it happens every once in a while and then they need to yell at you and tell you you suck and then you guys come together and like, you know, I feel like really good friends kind of is that sibling relationship. And so like maybe this person just needs that reminder, you know? Oh, what up, Lee? I eat too fast for anyone to steal my food. I'm the same way, Death Pants. I'm fucking... I also love sharing my food. I'm not gonna lie. Don't get me wrong. If someone's like eating all my food, I'm gonna be like, hey, dude, what the fuck? But like, I'm a big fan of like when me and my girlfriend get food a lot, like yesterday at the airport, she was like, oh, I kind of want this, but I also might want this. And I was like, oh, let's just get both of them and then we'll split it. You know, like I love sharing food. I think it's like a fun way to enjoy like food is an experience and it's like a fun experience that you can have with other people. I eat too fast for anyone to steal my food. I have 2 older brothers that have no qualms about eating the food right off your plate. Yeah, I had to, my siblings definitely had to like, because I can eat anything, bro. Like any leftovers in the fridge was like, oh, free game for me. And like, my siblings had to be like, bro, don't eat my fucking food. So now I just never touch their food unless I ask before. My brother steals pizza rolls off my plate like he's getting paid. That's your sibling tax, man. Hey, Ninetail, thank you for sending a marshmallow for 100 joules. I didn't even realize you were in here, Ninetail Phoenix. Hello, good to see you. Carol, thank you for 2 joules. I'm sorry, guys. I have no idea what any of that means. I apologize, bro. I have no fucking clue. Julia, thank you for subscribing for 1 month at tier 1. Welcome to the tier 1 sub gang, baby. Good to have you. Good to have you. Chat, let's go to this update. I'm curious, man. I'm curious where this is going. All right, here we go, chat. Update coming in 3 days after the original post. I chose to talk to my friend yesterday as today was the day she wanted to go to the theme park. I did not bring up anything about weight, but simply said that I was wondering if she felt like we got our money's worth last time we went. She stated that it would have been nice to get on more rides, but that she doesn't want to go on any rides with an over-the-chest restraint, in parentheses, which is what they have on most of the rides at our park, because they're uncomfortable / do not close. I told her I totally understand this, but that this really limits what we can do while at the theme park, and that tickets are pretty expensive, especially as we are college students. She said she sees my point and said that she's trying to save money too. So we decided that instead of going to the theme park so often, in parentheses, we used to go maybe 3 times a month, we are just going to go back in August when they will be having a live music performance and fireworks show at the park. I directly asked her if she would be offended if I went to the park with other friends. She said no, and that it makes sense for the time being since it isn't the easiest activity for her right now. She also commented on how she's gotten into the habit of going with me every summer and wasn't fully considering if this was actually worthwhile because she was so used to it. I told her that there are other theme parks I've heard of that seem a lot more accommodating and that maybe if she wants to do a road trip one day, we could try another park. We made other plans for tonight. We are going to go see a fun movie. That's all. We are still close friends. She isn't mad. And no, she doesn't think I'm fat phobic for suggesting another activity, unlike some Redditors here, LOL. I mean, I think that's such a stretch, man. Like, calling someone fat phobic who is this accepting and, like, respectful of their friends' feelings, like, to me, that's just, like, counterproductive. Like, you should be calling people fat phobic who are actually fat phobic, not somebody who's like, hey, like, I'm not going to completely ignore how this changes my life, but like, I still care about this friend and I still love them. I still want them to have a good time. Like, I don't know, man. It's just dumb to me. I'm very interested in this reaction chat because like, don't get me wrong. I think there was a conversation that was had, but it didn't quite dive into the real issue. It just kind of danced around it, which, to be fair, I'm very happy that they found solutions and like they can still continue their friendship. And it does seem like it was almost indirectly addressed. Like the friend understood that like the conversation was around them being plus sized. So like big W on salvaging the friendship, not hurting anyone's feelings. I just think like there is a world where like maybe this friend finds this post or like something happens where it comes out that like OP was having issues with their weight that maybe they didn't communicate right away. And like, I don't know. I think that's a little bit of like a ticking time bomb. Granted, I guess it could never come up. But I don't know. It just seems like the conversation wasn't directly addressed. Ultimately, the issue is OP couldn't ride as much as they wanted, and we don't need to center the friend's size to have that conversation. Yes and no. I see what you're saying, but it was the center of the conversation. They just kind of like or at least two. And granted, we don't know what was going on here, but it just seems like they implied it. They never directly said like, "Hey, you're not getting your money's worthwhile because of your size." You know? I don't know. It just seems like honestly, y'all, it kind of reminds me a little bit of corporate speak. Like, like in an email chain when you're like passive aggressively calling out somebody in corporate speak, but you have to do it in like a nice, polite way. Like, that's almost how it feels to me, which I guess corporate stuff gets stuff done, every once in a while. But it doesn't seem like, I don't know. I'm just not a big fan of that type of communication. Customer service voice. No, for real. Yeah, exactly, bouncy ball. It's not like she's telling her to lose weight. Exactly. But I think you have to address the weight as like, hey, I'm perfectly fine with this. I have no problems. It's just when we go to the amusement park, this specifically makes it less enjoyable when we go together. I'm not saying that I want you to lose weight. I'm not saying that like you ruin the experience for me or something. Like, we just have to, as friends, talk about it because I would prefer to do other activities with you that wouldn't be as limiting. It just feels like they never said that. They just danced around it. Which, I don't know. I guess you could argue like that's a form of communication. Like I said, you got that corporate speak, and sometimes that's the way that you can communicate things without hurting anybody's feelings. But I will say, like, I feel like, I don't have a lot of corporate experience, but I hear a lot of times where like corporate speak results in blowups in the future. Whereas if somebody would have just been like, hey, here's the problem. Hey, you're kind of dropping the ball on this. We need you to not drop the ball. Like, I do think sometimes that those conversations, if you frame them well enough, can be like, hey, we're not attacking you. Just here's how it is. Let's talk about how we can move on. Like, I don't know. I'm a firm believer that is always the right move. Cause like, I'm not gonna lie, guys. Like, what if OP's friend finds this post? How do you think she's gonna feel about it? Hey, what up, Lush? What up, Awesome Go? What up, Brookie? Hey, what up, Rose? Ooh, okay. You know what, Savannah? I like this. For a 21 and a 22-year-old, I'm not mad about it. You know what, Savannah? I'll actually agree with you. I definitely probably a more mature ending for people that young. Hey, what up, Hannah? Yeah, interesting conversation, you guys. Very interesting. Sorry, guys, I'm deciding which story I want to read next. All right, we'll do this one, chat. Okay. Actually, let's do this one because this is kind of relevant as of what just happened. Hey, what up, Strawberry? They handled this more maturely than some people twice their age, in my opinion. You know what, Katana? I do agree with that, actually. I do agree with that. You're kind of cooking. Alrighty, chat. Let's keep it rocking and rolling. I'm guessing that one will start up some good conversation in the video. I'm sure everybody will have their own opinions on it. YouTube, if you guys are on the YouTube, make sure to like up the stream. We got 70 people watching, 56 likes. I know we could get that shit past 60. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. If you guys are on Twitch, make sure to follow no matter where you're at, though. Turn on the post noties so you can be notified whenever I go live. All right, here we go. Am I the a-hole for letting not? Sorry. Am I the a-hole for not letting my daughter celebrate Father's Day with me? I, 44 male, have known Morgan, 19 female, since she was a baby. Her mother, 43 female, and I were friends in high school. Her dad took off back to Mexico shortly after she was conceived and hasn't been heard from since. Her mother and I hung out occasionally until about 5 years ago when she got with a guy who she quickly married and is heavily into drugs. Morgan was sent off to live with her grandmother. She rarely sees her mother and stepfather. Okay. Morgan and I reconnected when she invited me to her graduation party. Since then, I've helped her with figuring out her finances, getting a car, apartment, and registering for college classes. We don't see each other often, but she knows I'm always just a phone call away. I ran into her yesterday at the grocery store and just making small talk, I accidentally asked if she had any big plans for Father's Day, feeling stupid right after saying it, knowing her situation. She laughed and said I was about the only thing that ever resembled a father in her life. So I thought, why not? And invited her out with my wife and 2 teenage kids for our traditional Father's Day dinner at a nice restaurant. She quickly accepted the invite. This evening, we had a great dinner, had some laughs, and treated her like she was one of the family. She even made me a almost Father's Day card. Aw, cute. Everything seemed to go great. Later tonight, her mother started blowing up my phone, telling me what a terrible person I am, in parentheses, in much harsher words. And pretty much every name in the book saying what a sick person I am for playing pretend and messing with her daughter's emotions. And she has a real father and stepfather, and I'm neither of those. I mean, girl, you didn't even sound like a real mother. Yeah, what the fuck? She rarely sees her mother and stepfather. And the father has been gone since she was conceived, not even born. Like, what do you mean she has a father and stepfather? Girl, you're 0 for 2 for men you brought in her life. You might as well take this tiny small You might as well take this tiny small victory that you happen to be friends with someone in high school who was willing to take your daughter under their wing. Y'all are saying projection? Yeah, absolutely, man. Oh my God, you guys, I thought he made like a dyslexia. I thought he made a dyslexia mistake in the title, but it's, am I the a-hole for letting my not, sorry. It's such a weird way to put this. Am I the a-hole for letting not my daughter celebrate Father's Day with me? That's what he meant to say. Not y'all fucking making fun of my dyslexia. God forbid your boy has some dyslexia. All right? Shit. Yeah, he should have typed not my daughter. No, exactly. Okay, that makes way more sense. Because I was like, wait a minute. How does the title pertain to this? But it does. It's just a little bit more confusing. Nah, bro. OP is the dad that stepped up, man. Like you guys were saying in chat, I'm pretty sure that the mother was just projecting because she brought... I was kind of confused on this. Like, I don't know if the mom became a drug addict or if she just brought in a drug addict into their lives. Either way, not good looks. Like, clearly there was a big reason why they had to send the child off to go live with the grandmother. Crazy, bro. I don't know, man. Someone tell that mother to be a better mother. That's what OP should respond with. Ah! Someone said just ignore the druggy mom. I can't disagree with that, man. Yeah, even if not an addict, no one should bring one near their kids. I agree, man. Like, I think when you have kids, you got to play it safe as fuck. You know? Daughter does not have legal obligations to bio parent. She's also 19, bro. Hey, welcome to the stream, Longboat. How old is she? She was 19, female. Hey, Gizmo, we love the good manners. To be honest, I don't know who gifted you that membership. It was either chicken sandwich or cat. So I guess say thank you to both of them. Crazy, bro. The entitlement is insane with some people, man. Just because you conceive them does not make you a parent. Doing the things that a parent does makes you a parent. Which it sounds like the mother didn't even do that. She kind of ass. Alrighty, chat. We got more stories to go through. If you guys are on the YouTube, make sure to like up the stream. Got 20 of y'all holding out on your likes. Shake my head. Shake my head. Just say you hate me. If you guys are on Twitch, make sure to follow no matter where you're at. Turn on those post notifications so you can be notified whenever I go live, baby. Here we go. Am I the a-hole for not allowing my niece to serve herself during a family dinner? I tried posting this a while back and then was going to let it go as the frustration died down a bit, but we have had a family dinner Saturday and the issue came back up again. Background: brother-in-law has a 15-year-old daughter. Fuck, they're using letters as a name. No, I hate it when people do this. I'm going to call her Beatrice. Brother-in-law has a 15-year-old daughter, Beatrice, from outside their marriage. No one never once denied her. She's his firstborn. Beatrice has been in our lives since she was a baby. Wait. So your brother-in-law cheated on your sister? Yeah, no, anonymous sins. Am I stupid for not knowing what denied means? I'm also a little confused what OP is trying to say here. B's been in our lives since she was a baby. So your brother-in-law had a daughter that is not your sister's, but it's been in your life since you were a baby. So like, maybe the child was born before their marriage? I mean, maybe. That's what I'm trying to figure out. I'm like, where is this? How did this child come to be? What is this, an affair child and you're just dancing around it? Had a kid before sister and brother-in-law got together. I mean, that's crazy though. You know what I'm saying? I guess baby could encompass a lot of things. Like, I guess technically like a 2-year-old or 1-year-old still kind of a baby. I don't know, man. Whatever. I guess he didn't say that the brother-in-law cheated. I'm just trying to understand why he... The never once denied her part is fucking with me. I'm like, what do you mean? I sure hope so. That's his fucking kid. I love them all, so no bias when I say I love them all, so no bias when I say Beatrice is spoiled. The biggest problem is Beatrice has had a huge issue wasting food. She will load up her plate, eat less than 30%, then throw the rest in the trash every time. I brought this up to my sister and brother-in-law multiple times. Nothing done. I have no issues with her eating as much as she can, but she overloads her plate, then throws what's left in the trash. When I brought this up during family dinners, her parents excused it as her not liking leftovers, and that at least she cleans her plate. In parentheses, throwing what's left in the trash and rinsing her plate to put in the sink. I asked why don't they pack it up as leftovers for themselves and was told we'll do that from now on. They didn't. All right, chat, maybe this is just the childhood trauma kicking in because my parents would have never fucking let this fly. I don't know, you guys. Don't get me wrong. This definitely goes too far, but like I've always looked at food as a privilege. If you are lucky enough to have food in front of you, you do not intentionally waste it. That has just always kind of been how I was raised. And like, I try never to take that for granted because there are lots of people out there who don't have food security. So like, to me, this is a little ridiculous. Like, even more than just the food, y'all. Like, I feel like if you're raising someone to be like this, where they're just throwing out food all the time, you're almost kind of like raising someone to be like wasteful and ungrateful of like the fact that they can waste. Do y'all see what I'm saying? Like, I think it goes into the spoiled part, you know? Yeah, you guys are... My parents would have spanked my ass for that. Okay, I don't agree with that, Trash Cat. But, like, my parents were also... Sorry, I don't agree with your parents doing that to you. I should clarify. But my parents also were like, you got to eat your food. You're not allowed to leave until you eat your food because you're lucky to have food in front of you. You know? Yeah, exactly. I put plastic wrap on a plate and make my son eat it for breakfast. I think that's even better. Like, hey, if you can't eat all of your food, I get it. I'm not going to force you to eat all of your food because that does create, eating disorders and whatnot. Like, I don't want that. We shouldn't normalize that. That being said, we shouldn't normalize just wasting the food. You know? It's the mean between two extremes. You have being way too aggressive about someone eating their food, but then you have people just wasting food for the hell of it. And you got to find somewhere in the middle where it's like, hey, we don't waste this food, but I'm not going to pressure you to like eat all of it all the time. We just don't waste it. Yeah, I just give my kid a smaller amount to start and she'll ask for more. She's still hungry. That's how I feel, man. Interesting. Okay, let's keep going. The dinner before last, I organized everything, in parentheses, I usually do. And when we sat down for dinner, I handed my niece a plate. She said, oh, and took the plate. I told her she can always get seconds once she's finished. A day after, I got a text from my sister saying I humiliated my niece because she was the only teenager who was not allowed to make her own plate, and that I treated her like she was greedy. I don't know if I would use the word greedy, but like wasteful, maybe a little bit spoiled. Like, also, like I'll say it, I never would have noticed this as a kid. Like, humiliated is such a stretch to me. That's not humiliation, man. We've been on Reddit long enough to know that there are plenty of other ways that other people have been humiliated that's way worse than just somebody giving you a plate full of food that you won't waste. I don't mind her taking as much as she can eat. In fact, at one point, the family was worried she had an eating disorder and was loading her plate to mask how much she was actually eating. But it wasn't that. She eats, but she also... Wait, hold on. Sorry, let me reread that. I don't mind her taking as much as she can eat. In fact, at one point, the family was worried she had an eating disorder and was loading her plate to mask how much she was actually eating. But it wasn't that. She eats, but she's also not overeating. She just overloads her plate and wastes what's left. She even did the same thing with cake, which I didn't serve her. Took two slices to start, ate one slice, scraped the frosting off the other slice, and threw the remaining cake in the trash. Not wasting food is something that was greatly instilled to all of us as kids, so my reaction is just instinctual. This last dinner, I said nothing, but my brother-in-law kept making passive-aggressive comments anytime any of their kids went into the kitchen to get something. Even drinks. Like, did you ask your uncle first? Make sure your uncle's okay with that. Make sure you didn't take more than you're allowed. Bro, this guy sounds fucking insufferable. And BS like that. I didn't want to talk to him and start something, so I asked my sister, and she said, well, this is what you wanted, right? It has never been about permission. Now I feel like they're making me the bad guy to my nieces and nephews. So, honest question from an outside perspective, was I the a-hole in this situation? Nah, dude, I think you need to clarify your stance. You know? Also, are you the only one ever hosting dinner? I don't know. My fucking petty ass would go to their place for dinner, load my plate, and then throw it away just to like prove my point of like, oh, sorry, is this annoying where I load up on all the food that you work so hard making and then throw 70% of it into the trash? Like, I'm an asshole, bro. I'd be like, all right, y'all want to fucking play this game? Y'all want to be some passive-aggressive, petty-ass bitch who may or may not have cheated on his wife? I genuinely don't really know what the never once denied her thing is about. I'm so confused about that. Like, I don't know, bro. Reddit has to be on their side, right? Your niece is 15. She's old enough to understand that the waste is the issue. Exactly. I'm more worried about your fucking sister and your brother-in-law. Next time your brother-in-law and sister start their passive-aggressive BS, correct them in front of everyone. Then explain to your niece that she is welcome to eat as much as she wants, but wastage is not okay, and ask her to please only take what she will actually eat and come back for seconds if she's still hungry. Ooh, that's a good point, actually. Okay, you know what? I guess OP didn't really explain to the niece why she was getting her own plate. Which I gotta say is a major fucky wucky, actually. Like, how is that person supposed to change their behavior if you don't correct the behavior? You just do it. Like, to be honest, you're not much different from the brother-in-law saying something passive-aggressive. Like, that actually was a little bit of a passive-aggressive approach. Whereas, and who knows, maybe OP did this and they just didn't tell us, but like, you got to give them the plate and be like, hey, I've noticed you waste a lot of food. I will be serving you until you learn how to serve enough for yourself that you don't waste food. We do not waste food here. You're lucky to have this food in front of you. You wasting it is disrespectful to me and to other people who don't have as much food security as you do. Her parents told her, didn't they? I doubt it, kitten. I doubt it. I doubt that these parents sat down with their child and was like, yeah, even though we're defending you and like, and saying that you were humiliated, we're going to explain why you were humiliated. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think so. These parents don't sound competent to me. These parents don't even sound like they're on the same page. It sounds like the parents probably let this happen underneath their roof. You know? Sometimes you need somebody else to call you out on your shit to realize that the norm in your household isn't what should be normal, you know? How does a teenager not know that it's shitty behavior to be so wasteful? I mean, listen, like, you can't, I'm the firm belief that, like, you can't expect humans to spawn on this earth with all the right opinions about stuff. Like, it sounds like this kid is spoiled. They don't, probably aren't exposed to other kids who aren't food secure, and therefore, like, they just walk around being like, yeah, this is normal. Like, I don't even really blame the teenager. I blame the parents. You know? Like, I wasn't super exposed to kids when I was younger who, at least, like, face value, I knew were super food insecure. Because, like, I'm lucky. Kathy and Scotty Boy worked hard. They had me in, like, nice schools and things like that. And, like, I just never remember having people around who showed me that food insecurity, probably until I was in high school. But like my parents made sure that I knew that I wasn't allowed to waste food because there were other people in the world who weren't as fortunate as I was. Like, I don't know. I think it's not okay to blame her necessarily. Just like, oh, default settings. You're just supposed to know this. Like, I don't think that's the case. I don't think that's the case. Oh yeah, oh my God, Kitten Mittens. My fucking parents, like, really hammered in, like, how I was supposed to act at other people's houses. They would, if they heard that I was pulling some shit like this, they would have been pissed. Kathy would have been angry, man. Crazy. Let me check if OP has said anything. Maybe any updates. Okay. Nothing crazy. OP did reply to stuff, but like, it doesn't seem like anything groundbreaking. I think at this point, we already know the answer. We just want some updates and stuff. Chat, let's keep it rocking and ripping. All right. I want to cook through some more stories. Got to end stream here relatively soon, but I think I can rock like 20, 30 more minutes. We'll see. Twitch. If you guys are on Twitch, make sure to follow. No matter where you're at, turn on the post noties. If you guys are on YouTube, make sure to like and subscribe. We got 89 people watching. Thank you to the 89 viewers. I appreciate you guys. Make sure to like up the stream, though. All right. All right. I don't know. I grew up cutting the moldy bits off bread. It would have been crazy to waste. Exactly, Miss Morgan. Like, that is just something that some people don't even need to think about. Alrighty, here we go. Am I the a-hole for getting child support for more children than I had at home? When my husband and I got divorced, we had 4 minor children together. Husband was ordered to pay me child support for them. The attorneys told both of us that when each child reached the age of 18, my ex-husband would no longer have to pay child support for them. But this doesn't happen automatically. We would have to file a paper with the family court asking for child support to be reduced. You pay a nominal fee, file a court paper, and it's done. We agreed that we would take turns doing this as each child aged out, and I would go first, since I was working as a paralegal in a state office and was familiar with filing court documents. When the oldest turned 18, I filed the paperwork with the court, and the child support. Wait, hold on. Sorry. Time out. This is funny to me because the taking turns is really generous. Like, the husband's the one paying the child support. He should be the one who's like, oh, I gotta do what's necessary to not pay as more child support than I need to be paying. When the oldest turned 18, I filed the paperwork with the court, and the child support was reduced from covering 4 children to covering 3. When the second child reached 18, I waited for either my ex to ask me how to file the paperwork, in parentheses, we were on good terms and communicated regularly, or for the amount of child support I received to reduce. But neither happened. Then a few years later, the third child reached 18, and the same thing happened. He neither reached out to me nor filed anything with the court. So at this point, I had 1 minor child at home and was receiving child support for 3 children. Interesting. So you knew and had this top of mind, but it doesn't sound like you brought it up to him. Listen, I'm not gonna sit here and say that, like, he's not a big old dum-dum who should have realized it and, like, done his due diligence to not pay more than he has to. That being said, if you know, I think you could bring it up of like, hey, just a heads up, you're still paying me for 3 kids when you should be paying me for 2. Also, the third child reaching 18, if you guys are flip-flopping, that is on you based off your prior agreement. Do I think that your prior agreement really didn't need to be made? That should be the husband's act. That should be the husband's responsibility. Yeah, but you did take up that responsibility. So technically, you should have been the one who canceled this third child's child support. Years later, when the youngest one had turned 18 and was graduating from high school, my ex-husband handed me some paperwork to end the child support payments, which I immediately and happily signed. His girlfriend said to me, I just found out that he's been overpaying for years. You knew and you said nothing. You knew how to file the court documents, and yet you just let him continue paying for 3 kids when you only had 1. All right, first off, fuck this annoying girlfriend. That ain't your place. Stay in your lane. But also, it's bro's money. Why? Okay, that's crazy to me. Don't get me wrong. I still am of the belief that OP should have brought it up to them. And so that's why I'm kind of leaning towards an everyone sucks here. But you can't put everything on OP. It's not their responsibility. There was a prior agreement that your husband didn't follow up on. And even then, it's not just her responsibility to file the court documents. All this was true, but he was present just like I was when we agreed that I would take care of the court filings for the first and he would do the second. He knew the kids were aging out and did nothing about it. He didn't ask me, didn't go to the divorce attorney, didn't do anything to try to remedy the situation. Am I the a-hole? Yeah, bro, I'm kind of leaning towards everyone sucks here. Thoughts, chat? I think that's right. I think OP didn't even follow their agreement, which was every other. So in theory, OP should have filed court documents the first and the third. Also, I'm just of the belief like, hey, you should bring up to them, you're overpaying me for child support. Do something about it. You know? I don't think you can be like, oh, not my, like, this isn't a not my circus, not my monkeys, because it kind of is your circus and your monkeys, bro. The circus is your failed marriage and the monkeys are your children. You know? To me, I'm kind of like, you could have done better. Your husband could have done better. Therefore, you both suck. Chat, does anybody know, would she have to repay that child support? I genuinely don't know how that fuck shit works. It sounds more like the husband's problem. He sounds very financially irresponsible if he wasn't like lined up as to when he needs to cancel his payment so he's not paying as much. Oh, this sounds like fraud though. Anna, I don't think you're wrong. I think there could be an argument for it. I think she would get in trouble. Ooh. Crazy. Okay, wait. Let's see. There is an edit on this chat. Let's see what the commenters are saying. Okay. The top comment was what I pointed out. You probably should have filed the paperwork for the third child as you agreed. Agreed. Okay, so they didn't say it, but this one I think is saying everyone sucks here. Oh, commenter said, chances are you can be held liable for the overpayments. Edit, just looked it up. In all 50 states, you're liable to pay it back, and in some states with interest. Wait, that sucks. So it might actually be kind of on OP to make sure that document is filed. Okay, OP isn't in the States, but there may be countries that are also have overpayment needed to be paid back. And then edit 3, she's from the UK based upon her history. She will be liable for overpayment. Damn. Yeah, if you had such a good relationship, then why didn't you mention it? Okay, I do feel like the commenters are a little too focused on OP. Like, we could talk about the husband. I don't know. Maybe it kind of sounds like OP was doing some more sketchy shit. So maybe we should focus on OP now that I think about it. But, I mean, the husband was more just like dumb, idiot, aloof of like, pay child. Like, hey, at least he's paying child support, but like, you're not keeping track of like how much you're paying or who you should be paying. Like, oh man. It is funny that kind of to point it out, like It doesn't seem like the husband cared. It was just the girlfriend. Hmm. The ex didn't think to say anything, so realistically, why isn't it fraudulent? Or why is it fraud? Kidman's like, that's not gonna fly in court. I'm sorry. You can't be like, well, I just didn't think of the, like, and also there's literally proof, AKA this Reddit post, that OP did identify that they were being overpaid and they didn't do anything about it. They didn't address it. They didn't bring it up with the husband. Like, I'm sorry. Don't get me wrong. I think we can, like, we're all for someone getting child support here. That being said, when you have a guy who is paying child support with no issues and needs a reminder about not paying more child support, like, you just give the reminder. Like, I don't think we can justify her being like, I'm just not gonna say anything. Yeah, OP knowingly didn't say anything. That's how I feel. She should have contacted him before the second kid even turned 18. I don't agree with that. I think she should have contacted him when she got that first payment after the child turned 18 and it wasn't less than what it should have been. There should have been a screenshot. Hey, you're paying me X amount. Reminder that you need to file the documents so that you don't have to pay this much anymore. Please let me know if you need help for how to do that. We agreed on doing it every other. Document that. Also document being willing to pay back the amount. At the end of the day, though, that kind of just sounds like some stupid shit that, like, the court needs to figure out as well. Like, bro, y'all can't, like, auto-update that shit on some dumb shit. The father's the adult. OP shouldn't have to remind them. Okay, I don't disagree with that, but, like, if you're getting more money than you should say something about it. Point blank, period. Y'all, I mean, I don't know the ages of these children, but even assuming that they're a year apart, that means she was getting minimum 12 months of child support over the amount that she was supposed to be getting. So, like, to me, y'all, I get it. Bro should have been more on top of it. But for her to cash in those checks every single time and be like, whatever, without saying something to him, that's stupid to me. That's criminal. I understand the second, but the third was on her. No, it was on her. That's also very important. Chat, let's read this edit really quick. Quick little edit. Today I learned a lot of people have no idea of the actual meaning of the word fraud. As I mentioned, I was working as a paralegal. In parentheses, some people in this thread said I was trying to avoid getting a job, and I spoke to my coworker's attorney to make sure I wasn't doing anything legally iffy. I was assured that wait, okay, so hold on. So you spoke to your coworker. So you spoke to your coworker who's an attorney to make sure that you could be like, I don't have to say anything. I was assured that it is the ex-husband, in parentheses, payer's legal duty to file to reduce payments. And since he'd never done so, I have no legal obligation to remind him. Okay, but that doesn't make you not a fucking shitty person. Like, listen, if you had told us, like, I fucking hate my husband, I had to really go at him in the courts to get him to pay child support, I would be like, fine, bro, scam him. Scam him. Who cares? If he's a piece of shit, he's leaving you and your kids and like you're basically like forcing him to pay child support, I'm like, fuck it, bro. But you're going through this post like, we have a great relationship. He's a great dad to his kids. Now I'm sitting here like, okay, so what you're telling me is like, you guys had a very amicable divorce and you're able to co-parent these kids correctly, but you just actively chose to like financially rob this guy, even if you were legally in the right to do so. Like, to me, that still makes you a shitty person. Just because it's legal doesn't make you not a piece of shit. Call me crazy. Call me crazy. Also, that doesn't really add up to me. I'm not gonna lie. Like, you literally wrote down that you knew he was paying you more money than he needed to, and you didn't say anything. Like, that does seem a little fraudulent to me. I will never be sued, and we still have a good relationship. I was never asking about legal issues. In parentheses, I know more about them than you do, but about arseholishness. Okay, well, then in that case, you're just an a-hole. And low-key, this might be controversial, but I kind of do hope he does something legally. You kind of just admitted that, like, you knew what bro was doing and you didn't do anything about it. Like, it's a dickhead move. He should get his money back. Okay, and then there's a tiny update under that. Hundreds of people have told me that I'm the a-hole, but then again, hundreds of people have said that I am not the a-hole. But then again, hundreds of people have said that I am not the a-hole, so I reckon it's a matter of opinion, which I'm fine with. Several people have said things like I'm a criminal and belong in jail, but when I've challenged them as to what exact crime I've done, they've all backpedaled to say, well, it might not be a crime, but you're still the a-hole, which is a totally different thing. They kind of sound insufferable. I can't lie. I can't lie, bro. Kind of an a-hole move. Also, I feel like, okay, maybe there are hundreds of people in the comments saying not the a-hole, but your top comments are everybody being like, you're kind of a dickhead. Every single one of these. Okay, I don't know why this is coming up as a top comment. It's literally fucking 27 upvotes. Like, I don't know. I guess that one was in Everyone Sucks here. Yeah, I don't know, man. What the fuck? Which of the pillow fights did you prefer? I don't know what Taskmaster is. Oh, it's a show. Okay. All right, whatever. Sorry, I'm just looking through OP's history. Wow, they are very active on Reddit. Jesus. Oh my God. I can't sift through this chat. It is wow. I'm a couple scrolls in and I'm only 3 days ago, and this post is from 27 days ago. So you don't know Taskmaster? No, what the fuck is that? Bro, I barely know anything, chat. I was born on this earth yesterday. You think I'm hip with the times? Absolutely not, chat. Absolutely not. Interesting. Yeah, don't get me wrong. I don't think that husband was very smart, but I think OP's the asshole in that situation. All right. Chat, let's keep it going. I think we could get 2 more stories done before I have to end stream. Let's do it, y'all. Let's do it. If you guys are on the YouTube, make sure to like up the stream. We actually have a good amount of like viewers to likes right now, but if you're watching and you haven't liked the stream yet, why do you hate me? You could just not. Beans repositioned himself. Oh, what is we, man? If you guys are on the Twitch, make sure to follow. No matter where you're at, turn on the post notice. You can be notified whenever I go live. Nana V, thank you for resubscribing with Prime. Been subscribed for 7 months. 7 months taking Daddy Bezos' profit. Hell yeah, chat. If you guys have a Prime sub, Make sure to use it on one of your streamers of choice. Me. Just a good way to support your favorite streamers without extra money coming out of your pocket. And if you don't use it, that extra money just goes into Daddy Bezos' profit, which is way worse. Way worse, chat. All right, here we go. Am I the a-hole for telling my girlfriend? Am I the a-hole for telling my sister she's not Jewish? My wife, female 43, and I, male 39, traveled across the country to see my parents. We live in the Pacific Northwest, and my parents live in New England, specifically northeast coastal Massachusetts. My parents wanted to take us out to dinner and have my sister, female 44, and her husband, male 49, come too. My sister and I aren't particularly close, but we have had a fine enough adult relationship. We were closer before I moved to the West Coast. My mom has been researching family history for a few years. She submitted her DNA to one of those websites that tracks ancestry and genealogy. Through matching DNA, she even found a long-lost brother who had been put up for adoption. Wow, holy shit. She also learned that one of her grandparents was an Ashkenazi Jew. I hope I said that right. I apologize. I probably butchered that. So according to DNA results, my mother is a quarter Ashkenazi Jewish. This would also make my sister and me roughly 12% Ashkenazi Jewish. We didn't grow up religious at all. My immediate family didn't attend any church or religious meetings. My dad grew up Catholic, went to a Catholic school, and attended mass every Sunday until he moved out to go to college. After that, he was done. My mom grew up in a non-religious household. She did have a King James Bible in her nightstand, but I never saw her open it. Okay. Chat. Okay, I can't pretend like I'm the most nuanced on this topic, but like being Jewish doesn't just refer to the religion, correct? Yeah, Jewish is an ethnicity as well. That's what you guys are saying. So like, I mean, we got to keep going, but it sounds like OP's about to say we're not Jewish because we're not religiously Jewish, which I don't think is what you need to encompass to, I don't know, qualify. That might not be the right way to put it, but like to be Jewish, you know? At dinner, my sister and mom were at one end of the table talking, and somehow our Jewish ancestry was mentioned. Both my sister and mom said at the table, "We are Jewish." I responded by saying, "I am sorry, but Judaism is a religion, and you should be practicing to call yourself Jewish." Okay, is that true? I don't think so, right? I have friends who say that they're Jewish, but they don't practice Judaism. Is that... Okay, OP is wrong? Is that... Can y'all type OP is wrong in chat if you agree? Because that's how I feel, right? Daniel Radcliffe is like that. Shout out homeboy Harry Potter. OP is very wrong. Okay, that's how I feel too. Or excuse me, not how I feel. That's my understanding too, is like, you don't need to practice in order to fully embrace your Jewish culture. Okay, all right. We continue. My sister said, "Well, don't tell that to my son. This is really important to him." I responded by explaining that it was cool to embrace family history, but that they shouldn't call us Jewish when we have never practiced, been to temple, or followed any of the laws or rituals. She called me ignorant. So I asked her, "Would you claim to be Jewish in a room full of Jews or at a temple?" She didn't answer the question and continued to argue. Oh, sorry. So I asked her, "Would you claim to be Jewish in a room full of Jews or at a temple?" She didn't answer the question and continued arguing about how I should be less ignorant and asked if I thought Jesus was a Jew. By this point, everyone seemed uncomfortable, so I thought it'd be best to be quiet and let them change the conversation. Am I the a-hole for telling my sister she's not Jewish? I'm sorry, chat. This is probably a bad one for me to read because I'm not super educated on this kind of stuff. I don't really understand why she asked if OP thought Jesus was a Jew. I don't understand how that relates to the conversation at hand, I guess. But I'm leaning towards you're the a-hole, right? Are we You know, I'm kind of leaning towards you're the a-hole. Like OP is actively trying to strip them of the culture that they just learned that they're a part of and that they're wanting to embrace. Like, both these people need to be educated. I don't disagree with you, but like it sounds like the sister wants to be educated and OP is deeply uneducated on what it actually means to be Jewish. Guys, can we look at the comments? I feel like you guys might be on the same page as me where we kind of need somebody who's more of an authority figure commenting about this. And like, hopefully we get that in the Reddit comments. I mean, you never fucking know, but I do think OP is the a-hole here. Based off my knowledge, like you do not need to be practicing Judaism to be Jewish and to celebrate your Jewish culture. Uh-oh, not the fucking not the mod team saying locking this post as some of y'all have refused to be normal about this. Oh dear. Okay, this is the top comment. Not weighing in on the a-hole or not, since Judaism is both a religious and Okay, not to weigh in on the a-hole or not, since Judaism is both religious and ethnic. However, it is important info for your mother and sister, in parentheses, as well as any other female family members on your mother's side, to be aware about sorry. Nope, sorry, I gotta read. However, it is important info for your mother and sister to be aware about, as well as any other female family members on your mother's side. Ashkenazi Jews are at higher risks for breast cancer or ovarian cancer, 1 in 40 chance carrying an inherited BRCA1 or BRCA2 gene mutation. Huh. Wow. I mean, what a top comment. I don't got an answer for you guys, but just so you know, y'all got to be more aware of your risk for breast cancer, which and ovarian cancer, which hell yeah, honestly, if any of you guys are watching this and you also are aware, like, and you also are Ashkenazi Jews, like good PSA. Okay, the actual top comment. I don't know why that one popped up first. That one has less upvotes than this one. There are 2 ways to be considered Jewish, either by converting to and practicing the religion or through the maternal bloodline. If this heritage is all through the women, then technically your mom can consider herself ethnically Jewish. I know a large number of people who consider themselves Jewish while also being atheists. To be fair for them, it's about culture, family traditions, food. Since your family didn't grow up with that, it may raise some eyebrows, but no one can stop them from claiming it if they want to. Wait, chat. Can someone, I'm sorry, this is more of a curiosity question. Can someone explain the maternal bloodline thing? So you're saying if a family has a brother and sister and the brother marries a non-Jewish woman, they have kids, those kids aren't considered like Jewish by bloodline. But then if the sister marries someone who's not Jewish and they have kids, those kids are considered Jewish by bloodline. Why is that? I'm sorry, this is just more for like education for Sarby. What? I don't get that. It only passes through the mom. Why? Oh, it's because of an actual like gene? Because of an actual chromosome? Because you can guarantee the bloodline through women? Okay. I mean, I get it, but also like that just sounds like kind of a weird. I'm just trying, chat, to think about what people would say if that was how like my Asian culture just like work. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. That seems weird to me. I feel like I'm not like there's too much nuance on what people should know about Judaism. In Judaism, it is believed the soul and religion is passed down from the mother, so the dad doesn't matter in this. Okay. I don't know, chat. I'm just thinking of like, and I don't know. Like, listen, it's hard because it's a religion and I could offend like a whole group of ethnic people, but genuinely, like, if someone told me that like in Japanese culture, if I was half Japanese because of my dad, therefore I'm not actually Japanese, I would kind of be butthurt about that. Like, is that crazy of me to say? Maybe that's fucking crazy of me to say. I think that's weird. You know? Like, I wouldn't like that. I don't know. But I don't know. It sounds like, I feel like the chat has like a bunch of different answers. There's like comments about like, there's an actual DNA thing or whatever. But like, I don't know. That's like, that seems very exclusive to me, you know? Like, I'm proud of being Japanese and or I guess half Japanese, and like I wouldn't want to exclude somebody who isn't considered that because they weren't born of a maternal bloodline that was Japanese. I don't know. Yeah, it's gatekeepy. Thank you, Kitten Mins. That's how I feel. You know? Like, and somebody said in chat, and I read it, and like, I don't know, maybe, listen, I could probably get a bunch of people who are going to get mad at me about this, but like, this is my opportunity to get educated then, because I'm not sticking to this. This is how I feel. Lego Maya Ego said, I say he's not the a-hole. She shouldn't be going around claiming she's Jewish. She isn't. Her mom isn't technically Jewish. She's not religious and keeps a King James Bible. My mom had this issue of being a certain percent Jewish in her family, but she still had the technicality to convert to be considered ethnically/culturally Jewish for participating within it and observing it. Okay, so here's my thing. That sounds like having to jump through a bunch of hoops to want to be enthusiastic about where you come from. And guys, I want to say, I could be wrong here. Like, I don't know, maybe I'll get canceled for this or some shit. Like, to me, if somebody told me like, hey, I'm 12% Japanese, I'd want to be like, cool, bro. Like, let's bond in the fact that we're both Japanese together, even if you're 12%. It seems gatekeeping to me to be like, well, technically she isn't Jewish because like her parents didn't raise her to be Jewish, even though she's like, damn, I'm Jewish. I'm proud of that. I want to start learning about that. I want to start X, Y, and Zing about it. And like, I think it's hard because it sounds like Judaism has two sides to it. It's like the religion side, and then there's like the ethnicity side. And maybe we have to take those into different accounts, but like, I think no matter what your ethnicity is, if you learn that you're an ethnicity that like you didn't know about and you want to dive more about and you're excited about, like, shouldn't that be encouraged? Shouldn't we encourage somebody who learns that they're 12% Jewish to like go and learn about their culture and their family and maybe take a visit to like where a part of them came from? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong for that. But like, that's just how I feel about it. I feel like I don't know. I feel like I could be trampling on religion here a bit, but like, you guys know how I feel about religion. I think a lot of it is a little bit BS. Like, I'm not surprised if like a religion encourages gatekeeping, because that's what religion is. It's gatekeeping you to like make you feel special when you're a part of it. You know, like to me, I'm like, listen, if we're talking about the culture, I think it should be accepting. But is she learning about the culture? Lots of people say they are, but don't. I mean, listen, I think there's different levels that you can learn about something that you're newfound in, right? Like if somebody came up to me and was like, I'm 12% Japanese and I just want to like learn more, maybe not going out of my way to learn it, but just like, hey, you're Japanese. What can you tell me about the culture that you know about Japanese? I barely know anything, by the way, but I'd still want to like converse about it and encourage them. Go visit Japan. Japan's awesome. I think even if you're not Japanese, I think you should visit Japan. I don't understand like the gatekeepiness of it. Like, it's like if somebody has a modicum of interest, why are we encouraging them not to? I think it's better to experience cultures, whether you are a part of that culture genetically or not. Yeah, there could be several reasons as to why the family didn't grow up knowing they were, excuse me. Also, there could be several reasons, There could be several reasons as to why the family didn't grow up knowing that they had Jewish ancestry. I've heard stories of people not teaching their kids and their culture due to being scared of the children being bullied. Bro, you're talking about my culture, by the way. My grandparents were in internment camps. They were racism super hard, and then my mom and all of her, to the point where my mom and all of her siblings do not have Japanese names. They have super white names. And my grandparents didn't pass down the fact that they knew how to speak Japanese to their kids because they wanted their kids to be more Americanized. Like, if I had somebody come to me and be like, you're not actually Japanese because you don't speak the language, and like, here are a bunch of other different factors on why you're not actually Japanese, I would be kind of mad at them. I'd be like, fuck you. Yeah, I'm not as Japanese as you are because my grandparents were thrown into fucking internment camps and racism for most of their lives. Like, fuck you. I don't know. I could be wrong here, guys. Like, I don't want to sit here and pretend like I am extremely confident on this stance. But like, that's weird to me. And I feel like I shouldn't be crucified for pointing that out. I think that's very common in America, to be honest. Like, I'm sure a lot of Jewish people were not treated well on the East Coast, you know? Yeah, honestly, all of Asia is a little bit like that. Like, I definitely think I remember I went to like there was like an Asian fraternity or whatever on campus, and I went to just like see what it was about. It was like boys, it was guys and girls, like kind of one of those like general, it was more of like a club, I'd say, than like close to actually like a fraternity or sorority life thing. And I felt out of place. And I felt out of place because I felt like people looked at me and they're like, oh, you're not full. Like you didn't come from the same experiences that we did, where we had like traditional Asian dinners and spoke the languages and the households that we grew up in. And that was a little isolating for me. Like I was like, listen, like, yeah, I didn't have those experiences with you guys, but like, it doesn't mean that I don't crave learning more about my culture and like any Asian culture in general. And it's just like, to me, it's just so pointless. It's so pointless to gatekeep it, you know? Like in general, it's never, if you're excluded from something, you're never going to walk away from the thing that you're excluded from and be like, well, now I have a positive experience wrapped around that thing that I was excluded from, you know? Like that's how I didn't want to join that for, even though there probably are a bunch of good people in there in that Asian fraternity at the school that I went to. Like I had a bad feeling from them because when I walked in, I was excluded. And not to suck my own dick, but I would have been a great addition to that, you know? Strawberry Punch Art, I know you didn't mean it like this, but that could be a little bit racist of you if you're white. So I'm not being mean. I think it's like out of a place of ignorance, but just, you know, just check yourself before you type stuff. No, don't worry. Strawberry Punch Art, I totally get it, bro. I'm just pointing it out as like I give my audience the benefit of the doubt. I'm sure you didn't mean it in a racist way. You were trying to be encouraging in like a funny way. That's fine. Just know that was maybe a little bit too far. And that's okay. That's okay. You weren't hoity-toity enough, Sarby. You know what? You're right. You're right. Hey, what up, Danny? Welcome to the stream. My grandma never talked to her father's side because she was ostracized for being Catholic. Dude, it's so crazy how much that shit can it's so dumb to me, man. It's so dumb how that shit isolates. Alrighty, chat. We got one more story. Oh shit, nope, just kidding. It's 2:28. I gotta go. I'm sorry, chat. I gotta go. I'm sorry, guys. Listen, my pretty girl's about to get in a fucking bikini and we're gonna go into a pool. I'm sorry, but like I love you guys, but you ain't my girlfriend in a bikini, bro.